Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a get ready with me featuring a new foundation that I ordered recently and I got in the mail about 3 days ago. This is my third or fourth time using it. Come here, Zoe. Come here. I wanted to do a get ready with me using this foundation in action, and I also want to introduce you to my new puppy. So we were watching this puppy for 10 days and the owners are looking to get rid of it because they are moving and they just can't really have it anymore. So we have decided to keep her. Her name is Zoe and she is 5 months old. She's crazy. The owners think that she is a Beagle Shar-Pei mix, but I don't see any Shar-Pei in her. I think she's a Beagle, Boxer, and maybe some Pointer in her. She's a little angel. We love her. She's still a puppy. She's still learning. Just wanted to introduce her, give a little disclaimer that she will be featured in this video, probably running around a bunch behind me. And let's get started with the makeup. As always, I'm going to start with my eyes and I'm going to not use my usual NARS concealer today. I'm just going to prime them using my e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer, which is the concealer that I will be using on my face in a little bit. I live in Michigan. I don't know if I've actually ever said that on my channel. I do live in Michigan and today it is very dark, very rainy, a little bit cold, colder than it has been. It's like in the 50s right now and it has been in the upper 60s. So it's a little chilly, so I decided to just put on a very casual sweatshirt today and just have a really chill get ready with me. I've been trying to do some different things to my channel just to make it a little, not even professional, just a little bit more put together and the vision that I've always had for my channel, but I cannot figure out how to do this one thing and it's really bothering me. Like, I don't want to say what it is because I feel like it's going to be so obvious, but I just don't know how to do it and I desperately want to figure it out for this video because I feel like it would just pull everything together so well. I just set my eyelids with the Maybelline Fit Me loose finishing powder in the shade Fair, and now I'm going to go in with my Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette on the eyes. I'm first going to take the shade Blur on a really big fluffy brush and use that as my transition shade. You will also probably hear Zoe whimpering at Kona a bunch in this. They get along. Zoe doesn't try to like really play with him. She just likes to look at him and like sniff him really close to his face. But he's not a big fan of that, and honestly, I don't blame him. This eye look I think is going to be a little bit darker. I'm going to go in with the shade Bucked next, and I'm going to mix in 2 little taps of Endgame, which is the darkest brown shade in this palette. It's going to be more of a cool toned look, and I'm going in with something pretty warm on the lips. And I don't know, I just thought it would be kind of like a cool contrast. I don't actually know how it's gonna look at the end, but I'm hoping that it'll look good. Now I'm just taking some of Endgame and blending that through the crease. I feel like this eye that I'm working on right now is looking a little bit patchy, which is weird because this eye looks fine and I've used this palette before. I've never had issues with it, but maybe it's just because I'm using so much of this really dark shade. I don't really know. Next, what I want to do, I think I'm actually going to take some of the shade Distilled, which is a cool tone shimmery brown. I'm going to be inserting like pictures of the palette on my screen. I just don't want to hold it up and point. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the shade Distilled with a brush instead of my finger like I usually always do, with shimmer shades, and I'm going to put that on the inner half of my eyelid. And then I will take the shade Dreamweaver, which is another cool tone brown, but it has a lot more like silver sparkles in it, and I'm going to put that on the outer half of my lid. And I don't think I've actually ever tried to apply these shimmers with a brush before, so I don't really know how this is going to go, and it's not going well, can confirm. I'm just going to lay a little bit down with the brush, even though it's not as pigmented and sparkly as I would like it to be, and then I will wet this brush. There we go. And now I'm going to flip the same brush. The brush that I'm using is the ColourPop E18, and I'm just going to flip it over and pick up the shade Dreamweaver and apply that to the outer half of my lid and blend it into the first shade that we applied. And I'm almost like bringing Dreamweaver out and like kind of making a little wing with it. I think this shade is really pretty, and it would be really pretty to kind of do like a brown smoky eye with this shade. It's a pretty unique shade because it really is a very cool tone brown, almost gray looking in the pan, with a bunch of silver shimmers in it. I'm going to pick up some more Bucked and make sure that the edges are all blended. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of the shade Angel Fire, which is this really gorgeous shimmer shade in the palette, and it doesn't really have a base color to it. It's more just like very dispersed glitters, and it is a little bit pink toned. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pat this all over my lid, and that just makes it look a little bit more shimmery, and I think it lightens it up a little bit, which I didn't really want to have like a dark eye look today, so I think this helps with that, lighten it up just a little bit. That is where I'm going to let the eyeshadow sit for now, and I'm going to move on and do my base makeup. For primer today, I'm going to be using my little sample of the Smashbox Original Photo Finish Smooth and Blur Primer. Honestly, at this point, I feel like I'm just trying to use this up. I don't really enjoy using it. I feel like it doesn't make any difference in my makeup, but I have it, so I'm going to use it. And I also think that it smells like gasoline, like a garage. And then I'm going to be using the Hourglass Vanish Seamless Finish Liquid Foundation. I actually bought this because YouTuber Karima McKimmy did a whole review on this foundation, and I thought it looked so beautiful, and she really enjoyed it in her review. All of her videos are very informative, but her review on this was especially convincing, so I added it to my wish list and finally picked it up. So I'm going to be doing my favorite foundation technique. I took a very small amount, and I'm just going to apply this basically to my cheeks and like the perimeters of my face, and I really sheer it out so that it is basically the lightest coverage that it possibly can be. I've been doing this with almost every single foundation that I own. I don't know why, I just haven't really been like enjoying putting lots of foundation on recently. I have the shade Porcelain just for reference, and I really like it. And then I'm going to take my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector just to, you know, brighten the dark circles. The e.l.f. concealer that I'm going in with under my eyes is a little bit tiniest bit too dark for me, so I find that applying this first helps brighten the overall concealer. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of this. I like to take a little dot in the inner corner, a little dot in the outer corner, and then that's it really. I haven't been concealing anything out of my face, haven't been like putting it down my T-zone. And I feel like this particular shade of this e.l.f. HD Lifting Concealer is really good for me because when you blend it out, it is like my actual skin tone. So it isn't too highlighting underneath the eyes, which I haven't really been liking that look recently. I've been liking a very natural look with my concealer and foundation, which I never thought that I would. And then usually I'll just take whatever's left on the brush and kind of like buff it over my nose, just because I don't really add any foundation there. I definitely have something in my eye. And then to set only my under eyes, and then right here, I'm going to be taking my Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. I'm almost out of this. I've had this for such a long time. I feel like it's the powder that never ends because you really don't need that much of it, and it makes your face look super like silky and blurred, and it doesn't give you flashback. It doesn't look powdery once it's on. It just is like my perfect powder. And now this is when I finish up my eyes. So I'm going to run off camera and do my eyebrows real quick. I'm going to be using my Wet n Wild retractable brow pencil in the shade Ash Brown, and then my Anastasia Beverly Hills clear brow gel like always, and then I will be right back. To finish off the eyes, I'm first going to take on my super old Makeup Geek pencil brush, if I can find it. I'm going to pick up the shade Bucked and blend that along my lower lash line. Oh, and there is pink on that brush. Great. Let's try that again. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of Endgame and blend that right here on the outer corner and kind of drag it up to connect to the eyeshadow on my upper lid. To highlight my brow bone, I'm going in with the shade Bribe, which is a just satin white eyeshadow. And I really love this for brow bone highlight because it looks matte in the pan, but then when you apply it, it is super satiny and has just a tiny bit of a glow to it, and I think it's super gorgeous. And then for my inner corner highlight, I'm going to take some of the shade Angel Fire, just because that is the sparkliest shade in this palette, and apply that to my inner corners. And then for mascara, I'm just going to apply my Milk Makeup Kush Mascara off camera because watching me apply mascara would be super boring because it takes like 10 minutes. But I'm not going to apply any to my lower lashes like always. And then I'm actually going to take a black pencil liner. I'm not going to tell you the brand because it is a brand that I do not support. I'm going to line my waterline with it. For bronzer today, I'm going to be going into my Pacifica Bronze Rose and Coconut Infused Blush and Bronzer. Just a little blush and bronzer duo, and I'm going to be taking the bronzer shade, which is called Desert, and bronzing my face with that. I'm going to be taking my Alamar Cosmetics bronzing brush, and I like to use this bronzing brush on bronzers that are a little bit more firmly packed and a little bit less pigmented, because I find that it helps you pick up more product. It's just a lot easier to blend out than my normal dual fiber brush that I typically use for my bronzer. And then for my blush today, I'm going in with this e.l.f. blush and bronzer duo called St. Lucia, and I'm taking the blush from it and I'm using my e.l.f. pointed powder brush to apply this. I like this brush for blush because it's really easy to get a nice precise blush application. For my highlights, I'm going to be taking my Maybelline Master Strobing Liquid in the shade Light, and I'm going to first apply this to the back of my hand and then take my Eco Tools highlighting brush, kind of work it in to the brush, and then kind of alternate between applying it with the brush and tapping it in with my finger. And then of course, I'm going to apply it to the outer corners of my eyes and blend it over into the highlight on my face. And then for my lips today, I'm going to be taking my Tartist lip paint in the shade Home Slice. And it is this really gorgeous mid-tone, warm, nudie brown color, almost orangey. And then to finish everything off, I'm going to be taking my Pacifica Coconut Essence Hydro Mist. And this is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really have been loving this foundation. And honestly, I would recommend it. It was pretty expensive. I think it was like over $50, but I really think it's worth it. It is a really great foundation. I love the way that my eye look turned out. I think that it does look really good with this lipstick. I think that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you'll like and subscribe before you go, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!